Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame and Cinnamon Sugar. Please don't come for me. It is what it is, child. It just is what it is. Don't come for me, please. Anyway, for those of y'all who are new here, welcome to my channel. Hopefully, you can go and look back on some of the recap reviews that I have done. Um, I just heard an alarm go off on a vehicle, and I might be getting a knock on my door soon. I have no idea, but I'm about to tell y'all about that. I don't know if he's gonna come up here before or after I say it, but let me tell y'all what's been going on. Again, welcome to the new people, and welcome back to those who have been around for quite some time. I really do appreciate y'all's love and support. Y'all really do be holding me down, even though I ain't been able to put up no real content in a while because of all the foolishness. And I'm gonna get into that too. So before I get started on that and the things that have been going on at work, y'all tell me why I sat up here, went got my rent the other day. Like within 24 hours, I went and got my rent, filled out, filled it out now before I left where I purchased it from, and went straight home. Right? I don't know when it happened, but I lost my rent, and it didn't dawn on me until like maybe 2 hours ago. I was waking out of my sleep maybe 3 hours ago. So I'm trying to understand why somebody knocking on my door. Like, I'm like, dang, I am expecting a package. It was a small package. I'm expecting some heels, which can fit in my mailbox. So I'm like, why are you knocking on my door? Like, you ain't got to do all that. But then they proceeded to go across the hall and knock on their door. And I'm like, why do you keep coming back and forth to both of our doors, knocking on our doors? Well, I don't know why my spidey senses started tingling, and I was like, well, dang, I'm gonna go down once I know for a fact that they are all the way gone. Whoever this is that's knocking on the door, then I will go and see if that's my package, right? That's been, left downstairs, or if it's outside my door. So eventually, after like 30 minutes, I, crack my door. I don't see a package outside my door. So I'm like, okay, let me go downstairs and see if it's sitting under our mailboxes or if it's in our locking mailbox. Nothing's there. So before I left out, again, my spidey senses were tingling. And so I'm like, oh, let me get my rent out of my pocket. This was from the day prior, walking around with my ring in my pocket. Normally, what I do is I'll fill it out before I come inside 99% of the time. Every other blue moon, I will walk straight into this building and then fill it out and then put it in the designated area that I like to sit my rent in. And yeah, I didn't do it this time because normally I do all these things, take a picture of it, and then I sit it in that designated area. Y'all, I was so tired I didn't even do that. So, like I said, I don't even know when it happened, but I apparently lost my rent, dropped it somewhere. Well, I'm now connecting the dots. And I'm like, wait a minute, because like I said, I already peeked out my door. I don't see no package. So I'm like, okay, because sometimes my packages come early in the morning. Now, at this time, this is before 11 a.m. So I'm like, hmm. Now, I get packages. There have been times I've gotten packages before the sun came up, meaning one of the carriers really did come here and they were making rounds before the sun even came up. And I was here for it. And then they came back again later on. Like sometimes I get 3 times that they've made their rounds just from the United States Postal Service. So yeah, I was here for that back in the day when I was really doing a lot, like a couple of years ago. So since it's not my packages, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm connecting dots and I'm like, wait a minute. What if all that racket was somebody who was trying to get in contact with me because it was my rent? I don't know why my mind went there, but that's where it went. So I'm like, no, let me go out to my car and check because that's where it's gotta be. It gotta be there. Ain't no way. Because every time I take some out of my pocket, I look around me, make sure I ain't dropping nothing. And I ain't feel nothing drop out of my pocket. Well, I normally take my wallet out of my coat pocket and, sit it in my car so I don't have to take it into work, right? So I'm looking in the area that I put it, looking on the side of the seat. I don't see it nowhere. And I'm like, okay, child, long story short, I think the person who was knocking on the door was whoever found it, right? And since they couldn't get my attention and they couldn't get the people across the hall's attention, because I think the lady of the house, I think she's at work. They ended up sliding my rent under the elderly couple's door. When I tell you, the Lord be knowing, because I ain't even talking about the fact that I done lost the rent. I'm talking about the fact that that man has always been super sweet to me. His grandson has always been super sweet to me. His wife, when she was in better health, has always been super sweet to me. She'll sit over there on her balcony and will stop me, talk to me, have a good old conversation with me, ask me about my hair, all kinds of stuff, because I think she ended up going natural at some point in time. But yeah, I mean, they've always been so welcoming, always been so sweet. And like the grandfather and the grandson, they take everybody's trash cans to the street and bring them back when it's trash day. All of that. Like, it got to a point a couple of years ago, the grandfather was looking at me like, all right, now I'm trying to take your trash can to the, you ain't got to do all that. Like, I really, like, my ex did not like taking the trash out, and I was the one who was always taking the trash can to the street. Well, one day I drove back there because it's behind the building. I drove back there, and I ended up, I would normally, my routine was I'm gonna drive back there once I'm coming in from work. I'm gonna move the trash can up there to the street on Monday, because I think they come early Tuesday morning or something like that to get our trash. This particular company, because we got a couple of companies here in the city, even though it's a small city. And I was like, okay. This one particular time, I rolled back there, and as soon as I touched the trash can, the grandfather appeared from out of nowhere and was like, oh, well, I was getting your trash for you. I was like, oh, okay. And I just kept on walking. But the way he looked at me, I was like, wait a minute. Okay, I'm gonna try not to get the trash no more, because like, this is me breaking a habit I've been doing for years. Because my ex don't take out the trash. He don't pull the trash cans up. I'm the one who does all this stuff. And I know y'all like, yes, you like a whole clown out here. Then look at your hair. All you need is it to be red at this point, and to add yourself a red nose. I know, I was a dummy. So anyway, yeah, it's just gotten to the point where I think that he viewed it as a part of him exercising and, keeping himself active. Now he, fully takes care of his wife. His wife is going through a lot. She's on oxygen now. I don't know what's going on, but her health has declined. So he's always on the go and doing stuff. And when he's here, he's just doing stuff around here, being really, really nice. They've always offered to bring my groceries up for me and take them in my apartment for me. All of this stuff. Always so, so sweet. I'm talking about I can literally be on my balcony, on the back steps, about to take my trash down, and the grandson will come and ask me if I need help, because he'll be walking the dogs or something like that, y'all. But anyway, they are so sweet. But he has my rent. So I didn't even know none of this was going on. So at this point, I'm over here looking into my options. I already knew that there was some kind of way that you could recoup your money. I knew it was a process. So I'm looking into it as far as money orders are concerned. And it ended up being a situation where I was about to start filling out all the paperwork needed and sending in my receipts that come off of the bottom of the money orders, right? And the landlord, I texted her and I told her, hey, I lost my rent. I'm not sure when I lost it, but I lost it, and I'm in the process of, and I told her everything I was doing. And I sent that, and I was about to send her one more message to give her more details, because I don't want her to think I'm over here lacking and, whatever. And so then she starts calling me, and I'm looking like, what in the world? She called me. She was like, hey, I just wanted to catch you. And she let me know the whole situation. Somebody slipped my rent under the elderly couple's door. And he apparently called her and was like, hey, I think she ended up sliding down to my door on accident. And so she said, well, it must be a mistake. And, I don't think she gave details, but she knows I work like a whole lot. Y'all, I'm so tired. I didn't deviate it completely away from what I normally do, because I normally, no matter what I do, I'm always laser focused to the point where I'm like, I'm going in this house, I'm going to put this in this area, and like, I'm making sure I get it out of my wallet or out of my pocket immediately as soon as I walk in the door. Yeah, I don't know where I dropped it at, but I'm thankful for whoever found it, and I'm thankful that he is the one who has it in his possession because I know I could trust him with it. Even if I don't get it today, at some point he gonna give it to me or he'll hand it to the landlord. I don't really care. But anyway, I think he just got home, and that's the little alarm that I heard. So I had to go ahead and start it off with that. So let me try to update y'all on everything that's been going on this week because it's been a lot. Even down to today. Today, something I found out before my actual shift started, I was just like, come on now. If this is true, I'm real tired of my spirit. So anyway, let me start from the beginning. So I again am trying to get 60 hours so that I can be off for the weekend. But now that I've gotten confirmation on something, it's not going to necessarily be that long, but it's still going to be longer than when I put in for my 7th day off. So after I do it this week, if I can get it done, I'm about to explain it, then it'll work out in my favor and I'll have a little bit more time. So I'm supposed to be going in for 4 hours, and then that's when I hit my 60 hours this week, y'all. So in 5 or 6 hours, I'm supposed to go into work and then get off. But I have to show up. So pretty much they're as long as nobody call me off, they're waiting on me to show up. And once I clock in, we know I'm gonna stay the whole time. Then they'll change the schedule, and then they're gonna have to have somebody to stay over and do whatever they're gonna do because I'm gonna be to hit my 60 hours. Whichever happens first, you either hit your 60 hours, or if you don't hit it, you just miss it. Then you only can get 7th day off. I'm about to hit my 60 hours, so they gonna have to do what they gotta do. They're gonna have to suffer through or whatever they're gonna have to do. Oh well, because I've done my time. So Monday came in and worked. So I asked this guy, and I'm gonna try my best to make every scenario as short as possible because y'all know I can be very long-winded. So there was a situation that happened. I was informed that week that we ended up going down. We had a shutdown, and then we came back up like 3-4 days later. So right before we left, somebody approached me and they told me that there was a guy that works with me who's one of the newer people, and that he reached out to this woman and he wanted to know if he could have oral pleasure and her pay him for it because she is known to solicit sex from certain black men at our job, right? This is not me making something up. This is something that I've heard so many different people say that don't even deal with each other like that. So apparently this is well known and she don't care who knows. But she pays people to have sex with her. She paid like $300 or something to have full on sex with her and $200 or something for her to perform oral on them. So anyway, I was told that he reached out to her, and I was confused because I was like, I don't know about that because he and I have talked. He told me that he does not use social media like that. He don't be on social media like that. And he had been told me that like about a month or two ago. And we talk about all sorts of stuff. And he already told me he had him a little yeah with the yeah. And that he's not hard up for nothing. And like if he wants something, he can get it or whatever. And he loves when he gets it from that particular person. This person live an hour away. But he's been working a lot lately. Like he believes in working his overtime. He don't mind working overtime. He has been volunteering. He hasn't been able to get it a lot on our shift when it's not his normal days to work. So he's been going in on the other shifts getting it. He's been pulling 12s. So his shift is about to kick back in now. So he'll be able to work on our shift until Monday and Tuesday and all that stuff get here or whatever. So anyway, I told the person, I said, I don't believe it. If I think about it, I'm going to ask him about that. Just to see if he'll let me know, oh yeah, I did reach out to her because I heard about this. And that's an extra couple of $100 I can get for somebody doing something for me that I ain't even, I don't even need all that. Like, run me the money or whatever, right? So when I saw him, I told him about it. He said he don't know what I'm talking about and that he didn't do that and all this other stuff. And I said, well, I didn't believe you did it either because we've talked and you told me you don't be on social media like that. And like, he literally showed me his social media. And the last time he even posted a picture was like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. So it's like, yeah, I don't think he gonna do all that. But I don't know him, so he seems very comfortable admitting things to me. So that's why I felt comfortable enough to go to him and ask him, did it happen? Well, y'all, he got so upset because, first of all, when I came to him with the information, I wanted to make sure he was going to be okay because I have experienced this before. I was not here for it. And it's like, what you're not finna do is sit up here and lie on my box. There's somebody who wants to be with me sexually, and I'm never gonna give them the time of day. You're screwing the side heifer and everybody else and their mama and maybe your wife too. I don't know, but I'm sorry, I'm not hard up for sex. Pretty sure sex with you is probably trash on top of that. Like, even if you were single, I still wouldn't want nothing to do with you. Like, I just can't. So anyway, so it got from it. I asked him. I said, "Are you okay?" And then I told him, I was like, "I don't want it to manifest and you marinate on it and then you eventually blow up and get upset about it." So he'd be like, "No, I'm cool." So then a couple of minutes went by, and like I figured it was gonna be, he got upset. I have been able to kind of keep him calm lately. And I check in on him throughout the day, ask him, is he okay? And, how's work going? Because one day, there's this guy who, I came in early one day. And so there's this guy who is actually training, and he is about to be a supervisor. And he kept saying stuff to him. And I mean, it wasn't bad. It's just like, you throwing me off my routine. You want me to do the most. Like, you doing the most. And so it was irritating him really, really bad. But prior to all that happening, I saw him and I was like, all right, now don't start no mess. You need to behave yourself. Make sure you behave yourself. Don't get in no argument with nobody. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Little stuff or whatever. So by the end of that particular shift, he was like, man, I'm so glad you said what you said to me, because I was ready to cuss that man out. I was like, no. He was like, yeah, I'm so serious. I just kept on playing back in my head what you said. So that's the only reason why I ain't go off. And I just kept myself calm. I said, that's good. So I've just gotten in the habit of checking on him because I know he's blown up a lot and he's trying to do better. And he has already recognized that he has moments. And I know we all are going through things at times. And he has recognized that. But he's doing a lot better, way better than he was when he first got there. So he got upset. And he was like, well, who told you? I was like, well, I can't reveal my sources. And so then he was like, you know what? He walked off. He took like 5 more minutes. He walked off and he came back and he was like, you know what? So if you don't want to tell me who the source is, then I'm going to go to HR and tell HR what was said about me. And then HR going to pull you in and you still going to have to tell them. So essentially you still revealing who the source is. And then we just going to have to get down to the bottom of it like that. And so I told him, I was like, it is what it is. I've been to HR. They don't ever do nothing. That's why I don't even waste my breath going and saying nothing no more to them. It's just gotten to that point. So I was like, cool, it is what it is. And so, and it wasn't I wasn't really saying it in a nonchalant way, like, well, whatever. I'm just, trying to relate a story and, hurry it up or whatever. But I was like, but I don't, I wouldn't want him to go to HR because it's a lot. There's a lot going on right now, y'all. It's so much stuff. I might actually have to do a part 2 because there is so much stuff going on. I cannot. But it got to a point that he thought about it and thought on. He was like, it's not worth it. I'm not going to go to HR. So, it is what it is. I was like, okay. And I, and at one point in time, I explained to him what I went through. And I told him I literally just went through this like right before you got here. And when everything popped off and I was told what was said, I thought the person was joking. And once I realized they weren't joking, I was like, and it processed. And I immediately started speed walking into the direction where the married man worked. And the person realized that's what I was doing. And he stopped me. And he was like, he already gone for the day. He waited until that man took his half shift that day because he knew he was going to work a half that day. And then that's when he told me. Because he told me he had something to tell me. And he wanted me to know because he wanted to get back to me through like random people or whatever. And so, yeah, it was crazy. That pissed me off so bad. Like, he don't even speak to me no more. He already know. I honestly feel like he's the one who started it, or he got people thinking. Certain people who've come to my friend about it and got them thinking that something's going on. Don't sit up here and lie on my box. Don't sit up here talking about we have a active sexual situation going on. I don't even want you to spit on me. If I was on fire, I'm so serious, y'all. I cannot. So anyway, now that situation is over with, let me tell y'all about the other things that have been going on. So my partner just came back on Tuesday, and he's been sick. I've mentioned in the past that he has like some kind of like stomach issues, and it's been starting up again. I'm guessing that the medication that they finally got to work for him like about a year ago, it's kind of like leveling off, and he is becoming immune somewhat to it or whatever. It is not as effective as it used to be. He had to leave early one day, and then he called out the next, and then they made it seem like he called out today, or they thought he was going to call out. And so there was somebody who was willing to step in his place and work a 12-hour shift, because he had already came in early. But I saw him walk in the door, and I was like, wait a minute, they said he wasn't coming today. So the guy ended up not getting the time. And I was like, oh, that sucks. He's one of the people who actually works. He's one of the new people that actually does his job. I love working with him. But he's doing better. I talked to him today. He said he was doing better. And we didn't really get a chance to talk that much today because a lot was going on back there in the new department. He was running his side. I was running my side. What else before I tell y'all about the new department? Y'all, I don't think I told y'all. Tell me why the so-called divorced man has been doing the most lately. One day he sat up there and he got on the radio and said something about an issue that was happening on some part of the department that I was working on, that I worked in. And I was just like, well, I don't see the issue that you're talking about. I'm just going to have to call maintenance. And so he was like, oh, no, it's not you. It's not that. And he told me, I'm just tired of fighting it, and I'm going to call maintenance. And I'm saying to myself, what are you calling me for? It's a situation where there was no reason for him to call me. Nobody ever calls me that works in his position to tell me something like that. That makes no sense. It doesn't happen. So that was his desperate attempt to even talk to me. And I'm just like, because anytime they called, I was the one who was answering. The guy who I was working with that particular day, he did not answer the radio. And I think I told y'all about all that stuff that happened, like the exact words that was said. Yeah, it was a lot. But that was the first attempt. Then the next day, I was in my current home department working early so I can get my 12 hours in. So he over here doing the most, and he was like, well, what did you say? And I'm like, why he acting deaf? Y'all, he kept acting deaf. He kept asking questions that didn't make no sense. He was like, oh, well, which one did you say? The only one that's not operational, the only thing that's not operational that you are in control of, that's literally the only thing that's not operational. Why would you say, which one am I referring to? Y'all, it started pissing me off so bad that it got to a point where I had to like woosah before I responded back on my radio. And then at one point in time, it was so crazy that one of the people that do his same job heard the communication, and I was in the middle of doing my woosah because I was just like, I can't wait to get from up here so I can go somewhere else because he's getting on my nerves. They ended up responding back to him, telling him what I said, because I'm like, ain't no way you're not hearing me. I've had people to come up to me so many times to specify how clear I am and how great my communication is on the radio. So you're not finna sit up here and try to make it seem like you don't understand me. Child, he was irking my soul. Then it's just to the point that every time I look up now, it's like, now you're appearing. I hadn't been seeing you for months. Now all of a sudden, every time I look up, I see you at least twice every time I'm at work now. Like, where you coming from all of a sudden? I feel like he's taking his breaks right when I come in now. And I'm just like, why? And he looking in my face. He looking at me. I'm looking like, oh my gosh, please get on somewhere. Y'all, let me tell y'all what he did. So the guy who I just told y'all about, who came in and he worked 4 hours and he was gonna work and cover my partner's shift, but he ended up coming in. So we were walking down the stairs. I was going on my last break. Was I going on my last break or my first break? I was going on my first break, I think. This was last night, literally last night. And ooh, they done turned off the generator. Hallelujah, the name. So we coming down the stairs. So before we start to descend down the stairs, he asked me, did I watch Snowfall? And so I was like, yes. So somebody had interrupted us while we were upstairs. And then like he really wanted to kind of start trying to talk to me about it, but he didn't know what was going on with the schedule and all this other stuff. So we talking a little bit about it. I'm talking about going down the stairs, talking about like that show is so good to us. So, oh boy, the so-called divorced man is coming towards us, but he's not anywhere near us. But he's coming in, and he stopped in his tracks, and he's watching me walk down the stairs, and I keep looking back, and I'm talking to old boy because he was being a gentleman. He let me go before him and all this other stuff. And so we talking. He's keeping a distance. He ain't up on me or nothing like he ain't doing none of that. He young. He about to be 30. He has a small child and he's married. And he talks about his wife all the time. He gonna take off for the whole week of his anniversary. Like, unless he putting up a good front, he seems like he's actually doing what he's supposed to do and he's faithful to his wife. But this fool done stopped, y'all. This man done stopped in his tracks and watched me. So I inadvertently kind of looked over there at him because I was like, who stopped? And I was like, oh my gosh. So I think he thought that I was going to walk past him. Y'all, they had a whole nother door installed. So I normally actually go out that door anyway. So I let the guy pass and we were talking. And I opened the other door and went out that door. And I was like, he better not come back through this other door that's further up to try to stop me and talk to me because we ain't got nothing to talk about. And he didn't. He went on by his business because leave me alone. Like, y'all, he just be irking my soul and I just can't. But anyway, I'm going to come back with a part 2 because things be popping off and I'm so sick and tired of these people. I'm so sick and tired and y'all going to see why. All right. I'll be back shortly. Thank you for sticking around and putting up with me. Hopefully I will have a lot of things to post, get back caught up on certain things that I was doing before because I'll get some sleep. All right, y'all, I'll be back in a few minutes.